Technical Writing for Inspectors, Module 10, Report Formatting. Instructor, Gary A. Pace, P.E., CWI, Katy, Texas, TexasWeldingEngineering.com. Learning objectives for this module are formal technical report structure, general rules for writing reports, title page, abstract, table of content, ordering sections, introduction, the report body, results and discussion, and the conclusion. So with a formal technical report structure, the objective is to clearly describe the technical work or what we observed, why it was prepared, the results obtained, and the conclusion of those results. We're trying to put that into a document for the reader so they can understand what we're trying to deliver them as far as content, as far as information goes. A technical report is a means of communicating the work of others and possibly providing valuable information. Something broke, something needs fixed, something's messed up, everything's good. We're just providing information. So we need a structure for this. And a well-written report is about organization. We don't want to be all over the board with how we write our report. We want it to be a very well-ordered, structured document that delivers the information in a content and the content in a fashion that the reader can understand and digest. They're not left wondering, what the heck did I just read? It needs to be divided into sections, logical sequence, and an overview of the contents, so that the reader can find specific information in the report. So general rules for writing reports. We're going to try and apply an active voice by using third person in most instances. We're going to avoid using personal pronouns, which I've said. Me, I, we, they. No, we don't use those. Some people think you can, but I'm kind of old school. Sometimes there's a situation for it, but for the most part, no. We're going to use the correct grammar, punctuation, and spelling. We're going to get back to about the 6th grade. And when we write, we want to use grammar, punctuation, and spelling. We're not putting this together like we're writing it to our buddy on a text message. The diagrams need to be neatly presented and should be computer generated. There's a lot of different ways that we can draw, put together these computer generated images. And then we want to make sure that we have margins on our diagrams and full page diagrams and a number and title on all our figures. And, if we have any information that is directly quoted or copied, I do this all the time out of welding codes like AWS D11. I just put where it's from. What AWS D1 point clause 4 paragraph 6.3.5, whatever. Just make sure that there's a way that the information is linked back to where you got that information from. So first off, we're going to need a title page for our report. This is a document I put together years ago. It was just, for other engineers to understand welding processes and weld defects. So all right, we got the name of it, who it was prepared by, and the date of submission. This is what my report titles look like. Just do that on Word. And then an abstract. This is a brief description of the report, including its purpose and some important results if you have them. So you can see that it's just a brief description. I think I called this one a preface, but it's an abstract. What's this document about? You do about a paragraph or so right behind the title page. This is an abstract. This is what this document is about. And it's no longer than half a page. You don't put figures in there or make references to figures, and you don't put calculations in there. It's just a really, really high level overview of what we're going to be talking about. So with the table of contents, this is going to include the report sections, subsections, and appendices. It's just a list of what goes in there. If you've ever read any books, there's always a table of contents. That's what we're doing. Now, ordering the sections, uh, there are some different ways of ordering sections, but in our example, you know, maybe from the most important to the least important. Maybe it's problem, method, solution sequence, cause and effect sequence, or chronological time sequence. There's a bunch of different ways, and here are some different ways that a report can be ordered, how we can order the sections. We can include an introductory paragraph or sentence at the beginning of each section, and this is to introduce the purpose and outline of the main results. Introduction. The introduction is going to give us an overview of what we did, what this report is about. So that's what the introduction does. It just gives us an overview of where this report is going. Remember, I told you when we write these reports, we tell them what we're going to tell them, we tell them, and we tell them what we told them. This is us telling them what we're going to tell them. It should include, what was being inspected if we're writing an inspection report. What's the governing code or document? AWS D11, ASME B313. Location of the items, of where and when the work was performed. When did I inspect this? Well, it was on cooling tower number 7. I did it last Thursday. And how was the work performed? What did I do? Did I use visual inspection, mag particle inspection, dye penetrant inspection? What did I do? How did I do the work? How was the work performed? So the report body, this is the body of the report. This is the main part of the report. It's a detailed discussion of the work performed or what the report is discussing. And if it's a inspection report, this is where we put all of the discussion about the weld inspection or whatever kind of inspection was performed. It's going to give some depth and completeness to the work that was done. In the introduction, we tell them, but here we're really telling them. We're giving them the depth and really getting into what was performed. We're giving them some depth here. We're giving them some details to what was going on with our inspection. It's going to show us how it was done, why it was done, what the results were, and then we're going to get some conclusions and recommendations in this also. Make sure all diagrams that we are giving the reader are numbered, titled, and clearly labeled. We don't want old, legacy, diagrams in the report body. We don't want that stuff in there. We're just going to put in, our diagrams, and we're going to make sure they're labeled. We don't want just random stuff in there, random diagrams that are going to confuse the reader or maybe have them question our ability to deliver quality content to them in regards to whether our report is accurate. We don't want to give the reader any reason to question our ability to report accurate information. And we're also going to briefly describe inspection methods, and this will help explain the intention of the work and whatnot. The conclusion. This is our last section. This is where everything gets wrapped up. The conclusion is similar to our abstract and kind of similar to our instruction, except the results are concluded and wrapped up in a really meaningful manner on a conclusion. That's what the conclusion does. This is where we tell them what we told them. We're wrapping everything up for them. Okay, this is what we did. This is what we explained to you. This is what the report told you. But it's a lot cleaner. We don't put any diagrams or pictures in here. This is all just words explaining what went on in that report. It needs to be short, concise, the purpose, important results, and it should give us some specific information as to what was contained in the report. The conclusion also, we don't put figures in there or make reference to them. We don't talk about figure 6. The conclusion is just wrapping up the report. We should be able to read this section on its own, and we shouldn't have any technical details, abbreviations, or acronyms in our conclusion, unless absolutely necessary. We want to keep it clean of that stuff. Sometimes we're going to have an appendix. We don't always need this, but sometimes we got to throw in some extra information. This is information that supports the body of a report, but it isn't an essential part of the report. I've done this before where I've included, parts of a welding code or parts of a document from a highway department or something in whatever I was writing. The highway department says this, read this chapter. It might be 4 pages, but I just put it in an appendix. I don't include it in my report. I might reference it, but here it is if you want to read it. This can be lab reports, parts list, diagrams, certified material test reports, calculations. I mean, like extensive calculations, any kind of other data that we can't put in the report body, but we feel that it's needed. So we throw it in an appendix. So here's what we covered. Formal technical report structure, general rules for writing reports, title page, abstract, table of contents, ordering sections, introduction, report body, and the conclusion. Questions. Gary A. Pace, PE, CWI, Katy, Texas, TexasWeldingEngineering.com. Got any questions or comments? Contact me and I'll try and see what I can do to help you.